Well, good afternoon. We're here today to talk about a series of critical reforms to the organization, operation, and policies of the Massachusetts State Police. The Massachusetts State Police has a long and honorable history. The men and women who have worked there for generations earned that honor. That history, that reputation has been tarnished. In early 2017, a review by the State Police Command Staff concluded that a trooper patrolling the Turnpike had filed for and been paid for overtime shifts he did not work. That trooper is facing termination and is suspended without pay. The program he was part of, the Accident and Injury Reduction Effort Patrols on the Massachusetts Turnpike, was immediately terminated, and an investigation was initiated involving all the troopers involved in that program. In November, Colonel Gilpin expanded and accelerated that investigation, and 3 weeks ago, more than 20 troopers were charged with filing for overtime shifts they did not work in 2016. The Colonel forwarded the results of that audit to the Attorney General, Maura Healey, to determine if criminal charges should be brought against these troopers, and scheduled duty status hearings for about 20 of them. About half of the troopers were suspended without pay, pending the results of the criminal and internal affairs investigations, and many of the others retired under a cloud. If either investigation determines they are guilty of these allegations, they should lose their pensions. The Colonel and her team immediately extended the Turnpike audit into 2015 and are now auditing other overtime shifts across the Massachusetts State Police over the past several years. In addition, starting in 2010, payroll records for troopers who worked in Troop F, providing security and traffic safety for Massport, were not reported to the comptroller and not available to the public. Once this omission was discovered, all parties worked quickly to report that information to the comptroller, who then posted it on the state's website. The data itself raises disturbing issues concerning state police staffing levels, deployment, and overtime pay at Massport. The Colonel, Secretary of Public Safety Dan Bennett, and the command staff at the Massachusetts State Police have developed a comprehensive plan to address the supervisory, accountability, and transparency issues that have been raised by these events. The Lieutenant Governor and I have been briefed on this plan, and we support it, all of it. As part of that plan, I've ordered the Colonel to turn on the automatic vehicle locator devices in all Mass State Police vehicles. This will ensure that supervisory personnel will have real-time information concerning the location and movement of every trooper on the job. The Colonel will go over the reforms in greater detail, but she will be eliminating Troop E, where the apparent abuse of the accident reduction patrols took place. Staff from Troop E will be moved to other areas, and the job of patrolling the Pike will be a shared responsibility with far greater oversight and greater accountability. There will be a 30-day review of Troop F, which is primarily responsible for the unique mission of protecting the airport and the ports, to determine optimal levels of staffing, deployment, and assignment. As part of this, I'm requesting that the Colonel look at the plan for the Boston Police Department and the State Police to work together on ensuring the safety and security of the seaport. Most state police officers do the right thing, and many put themselves in harm's way on a regular basis to protect public safety. The work I'm informed about on a regular basis and the memorial ceremony I attended recently for the late Thomas Clardy is clear evidence of that. However, restoring public trust to an agency that has so much day-to-day contact with the public once it's been bruised is not easy to do. The Mass State Police must follow through on these plans to reform how it operates and put the changes in place that will address the deficiencies that have been identified. Now I'd like to turn the podium over to Lieutenant Governor Karen Polito.
Thank you, Governor Baker. The men and women of the Massachusetts State Police have a long-standing reputation of protecting and serving the citizens of our Commonwealth with the utmost dignity and respect. But in recent months, serious missteps by a number of members have tarnished the public's trust for a 2,300-member police force that has a core mission of protecting the public and the communities across our Commonwealth. Today, we are here to announce a plan to restore the public's trust and the respect in this institution. When Colonel Gilpin was appointed 4 months ago, she assumed her post knowing there were policies and procedures that needed to be reformed. Governor Baker and I appreciate the Colonel's collaboration and focus on these issues that must be addressed in order to improve the efficiency of the department and instill a lasting cultural change. With the governor, I have stood shoulder to shoulder with the men and women of this department to honor the fallen, to celebrate milestones and achievements, to stand with their families, announce important initiatives, and to move our state in the right direction, stemming from gang violence to combating opiate addiction and epidemic across our state. But our state police, all of them, must be committed, loyal, and live by the oath that they took to serve and protect the people of this Commonwealth. And to improve the department, we must recognize the shortcomings today and convey a plan to the people of this Commonwealth, the people who we serve, the citizens who demand that we do so, to increase transparency, accountability, and efficiency at the Massachusetts State Police. Today's reform plan would not be possible without the cooperation and leadership of Colonel Gilpin, her command staff, and Secretary Dan Bennett. Through these changes to staffing ratios, new technology, and increased oversight and accountability with independent support, we begin to restore public trust and improve this important public safety agency. Now I'd like to turn it over to Colonel Gilpin.
Thank you, Governor. Lieutenant Governor, good afternoon. As the Colonel of the Massachusetts State Police, it is my priority to uphold the core values of our department: integrity, honesty, and accountability. These values are the foundation of our department. I, my command staff, and the vast majority of the hardworking men and women of the Massachusetts State Police expect and demand that every member of this agency embody these values. We swore an oath to serve the citizens of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, to keep our communities safe. One of the most critical requirements necessary for us to fulfill our mission is to have the trust and confidence of the citizens we serve. It is clear that the actions of members in this agency have threatened that public trust. As Colonel and Superintendent of this historic police department, it is my job to lead the mission to restore that trust. When I was appointed to command the department last November, I took an oath to serve as your colonel and willingly inherited a series of challenges within the department that required immediate attention and corrective action. Over these first months, I appointed numerous new command staff members to serve on my leadership team to bolster our efforts to identify problems within the department and to correct them as necessary. Since my appointment, my command staff and I have contracted with an outside firm to investigate allegations about an altered arrest report and ordered an audit of overtime shifts worked in 2016. Thus far, that continuing audit has uncovered alleged discrepancies between shifts worked and money paid to more than 20 members of the troop patrolling the Massachusetts Turnpike. Those alleged discrepancies have been shared with the Attorney General's office for its review. Today, I'm here to detail a series of changes we seek to enact immediately and over the next several months as a result of a thorough assessment of the Massachusetts State Police. These reforms are a product of collaboration between my command staff, the administration, and me, with the shared goal of increasing the efficiency, transparency, and accountability of the state police while further enhancing our capabilities to protect everyone who lives in, works, and travels through our state. I believe these reforms will improve the entire department from top to bottom and better serve our dedicated troopers and the public. Their implementation will require much planning and hard work. We are committed to that effort and will work with department members, other agencies, the State Police Association of Massachusetts, and the Commission Officers Association to seek their cooperation and assistance in this important joint effort. First, the department will implement an automatic vehicle location system, AVL for short, as a GPS locator to prioritize officer safety, track the location of our assets, and more efficiently deploy resources in the field. This technology is currently available in all marked police cruisers, but has not been activated until now. We will add this technology to other vehicles in our fleet in the coming months. AVL technology is currently utilized by numerous law enforcement agencies, as well as other emergency responders, private industry, and the military. Its primary purpose is to protect our troopers by tracking their location and will assist field commanders to more effectively deploy personnel in critical incidents and emergencies. For example, in a critical incident, commanders at the troop or barracks level will instantly see the location of all assets in their area and will be able to more efficiently and tactically direct them to strategic positions. Tracking the location of all marked cruisers will also significantly enhance the oversight capabilities of leadership, enabling supervisors to monitor assets assigned and deployed on every shift. Next, with the support of the governor and this administration, the department will begin to develop a body camera program. Body cameras have been studied in several different capacities, including on a pilot basis in Boston, and are intended to provide an additional level of accountability and accuracy for interactions between law enforcement and the public, thereby benefiting both groups. Further discussion will be required to solidify a policy for the Massachusetts State Police to use body cameras as a tool in our daily police work, and we look forward to having this conversation with members of our department and union leadership. As I mentioned earlier, I ordered an audit of certain Troop E overtime patrols, known by the acronym AIR Patrol, which stood for Accident and Injury Reduction Effort. This audit's discovery of apparent discrepancies between overtime paid and hours actually worked prompted a review of the entire Troop E operation, which has been responsible for patrolling the Massachusetts Turnpike from the New York line to Boston. As a result of that review, we have determined that in the interest of public safety, that the department will reorganize the Turnpike barracks. We will eliminate Troop E as a standalone section, with each of the 4 existing barracks being absorbed into existing regional troops in which those barracks geographically sit. This reorganization will increase the personnel size of Troops H, C, and B, which will have the result of increasing the available number of field supervisors and road patrols able to respond to the Turnpike in an emergency. And by having more sergeants and lieutenants in each troop, we will have the capability to enhance supervision on the Turnpike. With this reorganization and the increased number of personnel who could be deployed to the Pike if needed, the department will have greater ability to evaluate the amount of overtime shifts needed on the Turnpike. Within the next 30 days, we will also be conducting a study of the number of patrols and overtime shifts worked in each Turnpike barracks. This will enable us to more efficiently deploy resources, as well as examine the appropriate number of patrols assigned to each barracks location. While the department was evaluating overtime discrepancies for Troop E, I directed my team to do a broader audit of all overtime shifts at all other troops. As of this point, we have not discovered any additional discrepancies in overtime in any other troop. But as part of the audit, the department has gone through the process of examining staffing levels for other troops, and we will begin discussing with Massport the restructuring of staffing levels for Troop F, which patrols and protects Logan Airport and other Port Authority properties. To the public, troopers' presence at Logan Airport has been quite visible since 9/11, with troopers stationed at arrival and departure curbsides and inside the terminals. Charged with protecting New England's largest transportation hub, Troop F operates a unique police force with its own canine unit, bomb squad, and detectives who collaborate with other authorities such as the Joint Terrorism Task Force and TSA on a regular basis. Over the 30 days, the state police will work closely with Massport to identify the appropriate staffing levels to determine if it is the public interest to add more personnel to Troop F, which would reduce the reliance on overtime shifts to fulfill the troop's important mission. Also, I am pleased to announce that as of last Friday, the State Comptroller's website was updated to include payroll information for Troop F for 2017 and several preceding years. And by July 1st, Troop F members will be paid directly by state police, and we will be reimbursed by Massport, a system consistent with how Troop E salaries are reimbursed to the state police by Mass DOT. Increasing oversight and accountability is essential for the department. It is clear that the current practices need to be strengthened. I have authorized an increase in the staffing levels for 2 critical department sections that are integral to oversight and accountability. On Friday, we internally posted 10 new positions, 6 additional positions for our staff inspection section, and 4 additional positions for our internal affairs section. The staff inspection section is charged with ensuring that the department policies, procedures, rules, and regulations are understood and followed by all department sections and units. Traditionally operating Monday through Friday during regular business hours, the enhanced staff inspection section will now work 7 days per week across all 3 shifts. Internal Affairs is tasked with investigating citizen complaints and alleged violations by department members of state law and department policies, rules, and regulations. By bolstering this section, we will be able to more effectively enforce the code of conduct and more swiftly investigate and, when charges are sustained, discipline members who commit violations. We expect these changes will significantly enhance accountability across the department. Under the leadership of Governor Baker and Lieutenant Governor Polito, we have sworn in 2 new state police classes, totaling approximately 350 troopers who are now in the field protecting our communities. It is also my hope that with a new recruit class funded by the governor's budget, we can add more highly trained personnel, cut down on overtime needs, and adequately staff essential functions of the state police. This class will also enable my command staff to increase the number of supervisors through promotions of current members to the ranks of sergeant and lieutenant, further bolstering accountability and oversight for the force. Additionally, we will begin on a quarterly basis auditing the top 50 earners in the department to ensure they adhere to rules regarding daily and weekly hourly limits and to ensure they are fulfilling the shifts for which they were paid. These audits will be made public and will be conducted through our internal payroll system. Also, beginning with the class of new recruits we are about to start vetting, we have refined and added questions to the questionnaire that all candidates for employment must complete. We have added special focus to language asking whether candidates were ever connected to a criminal investigation, even if they did not end up being charged. We are also exploring additional research measures for background investigators to significantly increase the chance that any red flags discovered regarding recruit candidates are seen and thoroughly investigated. Finally, in the interest of transparency, information on the staff assigned to each troop will be made available to the public. In closing, this series of reforms is aimed to improve the efficiency and accountability of the Massachusetts State Police to better support our officers in their mission to protect the Commonwealth. These changes will not happen overnight, but we view these reforms as a step in the right direction to strengthen and uphold our mission to serve and protect the public with the utmost integrity and dedication. Thank you.
Questions?
Governor, in the cases where it's been found that troopers or supervisors were paid for overtime and the work wasn't done, do you believe they should be charged criminally, even if it's just for one shift that was found?
Well, that was why all 29 of the people who were discovered in 16, and remember, they're going back and looking at 15 as well. But that's why all 29 of the people who were found in 16 to have been paid for shifts that they didn't work based on the records that were reviewed by the colonel and her team were referred to the Attorney General. The hope here is that the Attorney General will make the appropriate decisions with respect to who should be charged and what they should be charged for based on her investigation. When she finishes her investigation, all of those folks have to come back and deal with disciplinary investigations, internal affair investigations from the state police based on the results of the Attorney General's work.
But do you think even for one shift that they should be held accountable?
I guess it depends on the terms of the. I'll give you an example. Somebody doesn't drive their vehicle to work for whatever reason. They get a ride to the station from somebody else. They ride their bike, whatever it might be. They might show up as having been one person whose vehicle is not where it should have been when it was supposed to be there, but they may in fact have worked the shift. For the people who have one or two of these, people need to figure out the discrepancies associated with what would be a difference with respect to information and reporting and an actual act of deceit. I'm hopeful that the Attorney General's review will also focus on this stuff and for some of those 29 determine if there are any incidents like that. But my view is it's up to the AG to decide what to charge people with criminally, but everybody, after that review is done, has to come back and deal with whether or not they violated department policy with respect to the decisions they made, and then it's going to be up to us, based on that information, if there's anybody left, to refer them to the State Retirement Board to deal with issues associated with their pension.
And how concerned are you about the culture here? Because, there have been supervisors who were flagged in this office.
Yeah, I think, well, by the way, supervisors are going to be part of all of these reviews, as they should be. I think, well, I go back to what I said in my remarks, which is I hear a lot about what people who work for the state police are doing all the time. And a lot of it never makes it into the public domain. It's gang work, it's counterterrorism work, it's gun work, it's drug work, and it's fugitive work, and it's dangerous. And these folks do it, and they do it well. That said, they all take the same oath. And the people who violated that oath should be dealt with accordingly. And that's what I'm hoping the Attorney General's review will be part of, what the disciplinary hearings that will follow that review will be part of, and what these reforms to enhance supervisory authority and accountability and transparency will be part of. But there's a lot of work that needs to be done here to polish this one up.
Governor, if there was a capability to turn this GPS in the past, why hasn't that been used before until now?
I can't speak to the past on that. I think from my point of view, the work associated with this audit made pretty clear that that was technology that we should turn on, and that's why I ordered the colonel to turn it on.
How long has State Police had it for?
I don't know.
I do not know, sir.
Yeah,
I can find that
we
out.
can find out.
What's the timeline for the body camera program?
In my world, I'd like to see it by the end of the calendar year. But they need to do some work to figure out exactly what the which officers, which troopers this would be responsible for, how it would be used. I mean, there's a lot to be learned from the City of Boston's demonstration program, but I want to make sure when we do this, we do it right.
But it is department-wide, it's not
Yeah.
private.
Yeah.
Do you regret your previous colonel you appointed before?
Colonel McEwen started the investigation of Troop E, and had a 30-some year career where he was honored and decorated on numerous occasions. But that said, he and I had a disagreement with respect to the changing of the reports and the records associated with the Bebo case, and I think his decision to step down was the right one.
Do you regret appointing him in the first place?
No, I don't regret appointing him.
Have you been able to determine how much money was taken from shifts that were not worked total?
The audit at this point is still ongoing. We can't speak to how much money.
You need to stand in front of the.
Sorry.
Yeah.
The audit at this point is still ongoing. We don't want to make any remarks on what that is going to be until we finish the audit, and that includes all of them, 2015, 16, and 17. And at that time, we'll make a determination of how much money is involved, and we will release that publicly.
Colonel
An
Gilpin,
estimate or ballpark?
I do not.
Colonel Gilpin, what is the morale like right now at State Police? What are you doing about it?
I actually think the morale is good. People respect the decisions that we're making. The membership knows that we need change. I've heard from several members before this press conference, we really need to take down Troop E. We need to really make reforms. And I think they're ready for change, they're ready for leadership, and we're ready to provide that.
Colonel, with respect to the body cameras, has that been discussed with the State Police Association in Massachusetts, and is there an agreement to the extent that they would be used?
I actually came across a document from 2016 where they're actually reviewing both AVL and body camera implementation. So I think it's been in the works for a while. I'm not sure why. I can't speak to what happened before me, why it hasn't been implemented, but obviously with the governor and the lieutenant governor's help, we're going to get going on that right away.
Colonel, is the State Police now willing to cede some jurisdictional control to Boston Police in the Seaport?
Well, I believe, as the governor had said, we're going to be looking into the staffing issues at Massport, and obviously the Seaport is part of that. So we'll be looking into all angles.
Colonel?
I know this is like Boston doing it all the time. If this is for trooper safety, why are they just being turned on now? If technology is available.
I honestly can't speak to what happened in the past or decision-making in the past. As soon as we recognized that there were issues within the state police, we worked hard on implementing reforms, and with the governor's help and this administration's help, we're going to move forward with those.
Colonel, can you talk a little bit more about what is going to be happening with respect to Troop F, where these reports of these extremely high salaries?
At this point, they're just reports. We've done a high-level audit at Troop F, and we have found no wrongdoing. We're going to be looking at staffing levels. Right now, they're down about 30 bodies, which obviously leads to backfill overtime. When the new class graduates gets off break-in in mid-May, Troop F will be receiving 30 additional bodies to help staff that and lessen the overtime created.
So many people, a number of troopers, and higher, making $300,000 is nothing, found no wrongdoing and all of that?
We're still in the audit phase, but the high-level audit that we've done so far, the review, we have found that they have done nothing wrong.
Last question.
Yeah, well, with regards to retirees, if it is in fact found that some did violate the oath by going for shift stop once, you're talking about revoking their pension or recalculating and reducing?
It's up to me. I take it away, period. As far as I'm concerned, that's stealing. And no one who sits in one of these public positions should steal, period. That's like, you learn that when you're in second grade. But we're talking here about sworn officers of the law who every single day, as part of their mission to protect the public, arrest people. Those people are ultimately held accountable for the consequences of their actions. The same should be true with respect to those members of the law enforcement community who violate those laws. Seems pretty simple to me.